Hello, class. Today we'll be talking about the background to conflict, the differences dividing the North and the South leading up to the Civil War. Regional differences. Factories were increasing in the North, causing urbanization. Urbanization is when people move from rural areas to urban areas in order to find work. Many people in the South were moving from the farms to cities in order to work. Farming still remained in the South. Most people in the South lived on small farms, but the wealthy plantation owners were still the Southern leaders. More people lived in the North than the South. Why do you think this is? Well, more people lived in the North because of the factories. People from the South were moving to the North in order to find work and a better living for their families. The slave economy. The cost of feeding, housing, and clothing slaves was high, so plantation owners could not make enough money. In the South, slaves worked as miners, carpenters, factory workers, and house servants. Most still worked on plantations. In 1860, 1/4 of white Southern families owned slaves. Large plantation owners owned more than half the slaves. Slaves in the South in 1860. As you can see by the pie graph, most people in the South did not own slaves. King Cotton. The cotton gin, invented by Eli Whitney, removed seeds from cotton fiber. When Eli Whitney invented the cotton gin, there was a greater demand for slaves because of the production. With the cotton gin, more cotton could be produced at a quicker pace. Cotton could be prepared for market quicker, and the cotton was sold to textile mills in the North. North and South disagree. The disagreement between the North and the South was about states' rights and slavery. The North felt that slavery should not extend to the Western territories, but stay in the South. North and the South have argued about this since colonial days. Southern states felt that they should have the right to determine whether or not the new Western territories would have slavery. Southern states didn't like Northern industry. One reason for this is because the Southerners felt that they had to rely on the North to buy their goods, and that the North was taking advantage of them and making money off of the Southern states because of this. The biggest argument was over slaves and the Western frontier, though. Again, the South felt that it should be their decision whether or not to have slaves in the new Western frontier. The Western frontier. Northern states believed slavery should be limited to the South. The South believed they could take their slaves wherever they wanted. The number of slaves continued to grow in the South as the need for more cotton was demanded. The number of enslaved people continued to grow when they were taken west. This is the end of our slideshow for today. Make sure that you have all the notes written down, as you will now go to your Skyward account and take a short 6-question quiz over today's notes. You may use the notes that you have written down, but you may not go back to the lecture and view it again.